Right.
The information just flows from the teacher to an empty vessel.
Right.
But in andragogy, it is the person already knows, an experienced person. So all you need is to just provide a little hint and he automatically knows what you're talking about.
What is happening now? What is happening now? Right? You already know all this. I'm just guiding you. I'm just facilitating you. Right? Also, yes, ma'am.
Like sharing of thoughts.
Sharing of thoughts and moderating the discussion, channelizing it in the right direction. Okay. The other aspect about this dependent and self-directed is, I'll go back to what Arvind was saying a little while back, that when they go to the rooftop or when you are going to a field visit, each person knows what he wants to learn. Someone wants to learn about earthing, someone wants to learn about wiring. So he is autonomous and self-directed in his learning. Whereas the child will learn what the teacher tells. So that is the difference. Okay. Then resources of learning, there are few. In adults, it is own and others. Like I said, three way. So each one of you or each one of your participants is a resource person when they come to training. Whereas as far as a classroom environment is concerned, there is only one resource person, that is the teacher. Right? Reasons for learning. What do you understand by advancement? Go to the next class to pass examinations. Whereas here, when needed or for better performance. So when needed here, there is a need that you need to go out and train those utility engineers. So there is a specific need. There is a specific demand, and you are here today attending this training program to fulfill that specific demand. You are not here to pass any examination. Or to better your performance, to improve your skills, to upgrade your skills, upgrade your knowledge about a specific subject, which can help you professionally. So essentially, adult learning is for application. Unless you are sure that you can apply it or it can be of use to you, you will not be interested. Even if someone forces you to come, you will not be interested in learning. What do you understand by focus of learning, subject centric and task or problem centric?
Subject centric is, if we are talking about physics, it's only physics.
Right.
Whereas here, it is related to the task, it can cover the entire geometry of, or that area of operation.
Right. Like for example, we were having this class on energy. Right. That was focusing on energy, on the theoretical aspects of energy. Here, when we are saying task or problem centered, what is the task here? In this workshop, the task is to conduct trainings for utility engineers. So you see the whole workshop, how it is structured towards meeting the requirements of that task. Motivation, external and internal. Anybody? What do you understand by this?
There, my parents used to send me to school. Here I have come all by myself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you see, as a child you have no option, you have to go to school. Right?
It was the toughest part.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was in the same boat. That's why I ran off to India after 11th. Yeah.
The second one also becomes sometimes external.
You're right, ma'am. Absolutely.
Institution sends you.
Absolutely.
Go ahead and this one.
Absolutely. And that is where who are the most problem participants for the trainers? वो वाले जो external motivation वाले होते हैं. Because the person who's come from internal motivation, he is motivated to learn. He will not waste time, he will not divert you, he will not say कि नहीं, he will make sure that he'll ask you 2 more questions and clarify himself and others. So that motivation is, we will talk about how to motivate also. We will talk about that. Role of instructor, directive / enabling. This we've discussed, right? How is it directive and how is it enabling? Okay. Any questions you have about this? Andragogy versus pedagogy. Okay. So based on this, what are the characteristics of adult learners? They all derived from this. The one-to-one correlation from that. What is an adult learner? What does he do or she do? They define their own learning, right? We just discussed that. How? I want to learn earthing, I want to learn wiring. Right? Why do I want to learn? I have been forced to come here, I don't want to learn at all. I am not going to put this to use, I don't want to learn at all. So they are defining their own learning. Attendance is not the issue. Whether they are learning or not, that is a separate thing. They are experienced. So therefore, like we said, what is the connotation of that? At times they may have to unlearn something. They come with their own perceptions. Right? ये तो ऐसे ही होता है. You know, mindset because of experiences. So sometimes you have to break those mindsets also. You have to identify, recognize those mindsets, and you have to break them. Learn for application. If I go into a lot of theory, you will not be able to, you will not really find it interesting. You, after 5 minutes, you will start, maybe checking your messages or doing something else. Because you look at it and say, what is the use of what he's telling? What is the use to me? Nothing. So you will switch off. If it can be applied, you may be interested. Need for respect. What do you mean by this? And I put it in red.
As he came and shouted at us, I can't stand, I can't tell him.
So one is, of course, basic respect. Everyone is an adult. So certain, you cannot treat the participants the way you would treat children. Okay, stand up, get out, those kind of things. What else?
The style of addressing them also.
Right.
Should serve a madam, should be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In addition to this, you need to respect their experience. You need to respect their knowledge. Acknowledge it, use it. Like I said, they are all resources. So that is also giving respect. The way you deal with participants, adult participants, when someone answers a question and someone answers it wrongly, how do you deal with that? You don't make sure that respect is not hurted. You don't ridicule. You put it in you correct, of course. You don't want them to go away with the wrong learning. You correct it. But you correct it in a manner that their ego is not hurt. So these are things that you have to make sure. Limited time for learning. All of us are working professionals. Whenever we come, so would be your participants. When they are coming to attend a workshop, it is at the cost of something. In the morning, Dinesh was saying that some people have come away from their technical jobs. Some people have come away from their businesses. So it's at a cost of something. So if the time is limited for learning, therefore, as a trainer, as a facilitator, it is our responsibility and duty to make sure that that time is utilized optimally. Time should not be wasted. Different learning styles. We will just talk about learning styles. In the next part of this, I'm going to tell you what are learning styles and how do you cater for them. But needless to say here that different people have different learning styles, and unless we cater for all those learning styles, we are not training as optimally as we should be or as effectively as we should be. Need feedback on progress. What do you mean by this? Adult learners need feedback on progress. Anybody?
It's a rating how we are getting in front of them.
Right.
If it is wrong, it has to be improved. We need to improve in order to.
You're talking about the trainer?
Yes.
Okay, that's true. Very fair.
When you are giving us a presentation, so you keep on questioning us like how we are reacting on
Right.
that kind of
Right. Right.
on the ground. Are they with you or
Right.
on the same
Right.
ground?
Right. Absolutely. So that what you are both talking about is the feedback that you as participants are giving to me as a trainer. And I have to keep that constantly on board. I have to keep looking at your body language, at your, the way you are you listening to me? Are you getting bored? Are you doing something else? That is a feedback that I'm getting from you constantly, in addition to the written feedback that is there. But what I'm talking about is that your participants, they want feedback from you. How?
Assessment at the end.
Yes, that is one assessment at the end of it. Even during, see, like I said, if someone asks a question or answers a question, whether that question, whether that answer is right or wrong, has to be given in a form of a feedback, right? Because if someone answers a question and you don't give feedback, then the rest of the class may or may not know whether that is right or wrong, right? Similarly, when you perform an activity, for example, suppose there is some practical activity along with the training. If that activity is performed, after the end of that activity, what did they do well in that activity and what went wrong? That needs to be told to them. Because unless that feedback is there, the learning loop is not complete. They have done it, but they don't know how they have done. They don't know whether they have done it very well, just average, or they haven't done it well at all. So it's like if you're playing a match and no one is keeping a score, then would the match be interesting? No, it is just someone hitting the ball or, that's it. So therefore the feedback is very important for us, all of us as adult learners. How are we doing in this? How are we learning? We need to constantly get a feedback.
That is conceptual.
Indirectly that assessment.
It is assessment. But assessment is a more formal form of, indirectly. Yeah.
Whether his conceptualization is really there in his mind or not.
Yes, whether the concept is clear or not, that feedback also. So what happens? A lot of times the participants will ask you doubt to clarify their understanding. That, is it like this? So then you tell them, yes, it is like this, or no, it is not like. Why is he asking you that question? Is to get that feedback on progress, whether he or she has understood it correctly or not. Children normally won't ask like that, right? But adults do. Okay, so if these are the characteristics of adult learners, what are the implications of these characteristics to us as trainers? Learner, part of the learning process. What do you mean by this?
The student is more interactive and he is a part. He is taking part in that entire learning exercise, whatever it is.
See, even child is taking part.
But
Yeah.
here it is, he is also sharing his
Yes.
side of the story.
Yes. So he's a resource person, like we said.
Inspiring him.
He is a, sorry, what did you say?
Inspiring the
Inspiring and also teaching. He's also teaching them. I mean, you are learning from each other. Every one of us, even when we go into the technical sessions, different. When you are an adult learner, different people have seen different things. They have had different experiences. Something that you have experienced, he may not have experienced. He may not have come across that. So you are contributing from your experience. He is contributing from his experience. So it is enriching both your learning experiences. Motivating each other and also teaching each other. Motivating certainly, but you're learning also from each other, from others' experiences. Your learning material should be concise and meaningful. You can't have textbooks, right? You can't have a lot of theory. You have to have what is practical. Like you've seen normally when you go to a workshop, you get extracts or you get specific material which is relevant to what is being taught. What do you understand by multi-sensory aids? Visual aids, audio. Someone was just mentioning that, sorry? Hands-on, like we were talking about that we should go and see that plug and play demonstrations. Someone was just saying that, there should be some videos also. Otherwise it becomes monotonous. So I agree. And audio visual aids, also things like activities like we just did a role play. That also breaks the monotony and it brings out the lesson in a much more interesting way. The same thing which, I highlighted through a role play, the same thing I could have just stood here and said. But this becomes more interesting And again, it becomes, learner becomes part of the learning process. Inductive learning. Participation. What do you mean by first and last impressions? Yeah. Anybody?
You know, sometimes looking at the agenda, we feel, oh, and then we come because we have come. Then while going back, wow, there's a few. So that's the first and this is the last.
Okay.
So it depends a lot of things, right from this, what to say, punctuality, timing, dress code, body language, communication, and handling the situation, answering the questions.
You are giving the factors. You are giving the factors on which first and last impression lie.